Hibs of Aberdeen, 1985 Hibs Capital City Service Crew and the Aberdeen Soccer Casuals are two of the top firms in Scotland, and what happened during this season's fixtures was to change the Scottish hooligan scene forever. Let's get on with the stories. First, we have Hibs Soccer Casual member Willie, who told us, "I remember that day like it was yesterday, March 23rd, 1985, Easter Road. We had always looked up to the ASC, Scotland's top firm at the time, and now we had a chance to prove ourselves against them. We wanted to be feared, respected, and to show we weren't just playing at being casuals. We gathered in the Royal Nip, our usual haunt, buzzing with adrenaline and confidence. But looking back, we were naive. We had no idea what we were about to walk into. As soon as we stepped out of the pub, we spotted them. 500 strong, battle-hardened, and ready for a fight. We barely had 50. Despite that, we didn't hesitate. We steamed in without a second thought, and at first, we caught them off guard. But when they realized how outnumbered we were, they turned the tide quickly. Suddenly, we were the ones on the run. I knew the area like the back of my hand and managed to escape, but not all of us were so lucky. Raymond Morrell had been in the thick of it, and as he tried to get away, he stumbled. That was all the ASC needed. They were on him in an instant, boots flying, fists pounding. It was sickening to watch. The rumors started spreading before the game even kicked off. Raymie was in a coma, had brain damage, maybe even worse. The atmosphere inside Easter Road turned hostile. The Aberdeen fans, emboldened by their victory, taunted us, rubbing salt in the wound. Coins, stones, anything we could throw rained down on them and their players. The game had to be stopped after a linesman was hit in the head with a stone. After the match, the police knew there was going to be trouble, so they kept the ASC penned in. We tried to get at them, tracked them all the way to Waverley, but all we could manage was getting our hands on a few stragglers. It wasn't enough. That night in the pub, the mood was grim. We'd been humiliated. We had run, and that was something we couldn't accept. By the end of the night, one thing was clear. Next time, it would be different. Next time, we would be ready. Aberdeen didn't let us forget either. They sang about Raymie at every ground they visited, mocking what they had done to him. It made our blood boil. When the next fixture came around in October, we were obsessed with payback. The CCS had grown. Lads from all over Edinburgh were ready to stand with us. Even the Wild Boys from Niddrie pledged their support. This time, it was different. This time, we had a plan. The game itself passed with the usual exchanges of abuse, but we weren't going to strike inside the stadium. We waited until after. As soon as Aberdeen's firm reached London Road, we made our move. Instead of hitting their front line, we cut through the middle, where their weaker lads were. It worked. Chaos erupted as we fought through the streets, using anything we could find. Bricks, scaffolding poles, whatever was at hand. The ASC split. Some forced into Waverley Station, others fighting on Princes Street. It was brutal. Then we played our trump card. One of the young boys, part of the Hibs baby crew, pulled out a petrol bomb. I remember watching it sail through the air, time slowing as it smashed onto the pavement near a group of Aberdeen lads. Flames burst up, and in that instant, everything changed. The ASC scattered, not knowing if we had more. Bystanders screamed, the whole street in uproar. Police swarmed the area, and we ran for it. I ended up in St Andrew's Square, stopped by police who sniffed our hands for petrol, but found nothing. We got away, but we weren't done yet. We had stashed more petrol bombs near the railway, intending to launch them at Aberdeen's train. It would have been carnage, but when we got there, they were gone, probably found by the police. Another close call came when two officers stopped us, questioning why our hands were dirty. We blagged our way out of it, and they let us go. That night, we celebrated. We had done what we set out to do. The only downside was that one of our own got nicked for throwing the petrol bomb, but he walked free in court. More importantly, the CCS had cemented its place. We weren't just another firm anymore. We had proved we would do whatever it took to win. Every other mob in Scotland knew it, and Aberdeen, they never forgot it. They tried to get one over on us again in November at Hampton for the League Cup final. 600 on each side. It could have been the biggest battle yet, but the police had learned from last time. They kept us apart. But by then, it didn't matter. We had made our mark. And after that night in October, Scottish hooliganism was never the same again. Aberdeen soccer casual member Bobby told us. The trouble started in the early 1980s. Obviously, the clothing that they were wearing at the time, sportswear and that, it was different from the rest of the supporters. And when the police were describing the group in the papers, they gave the name of soccer casuals because of the casual dress they were wearing. And it really stuck after that. Some older lads before them had other names, but they never really stuck, and that's how we ended up with the casual tag. It was given by the local paper, the Evening Express. It was made up of different areas from Aberdeen. They sort of just came together. It stopped most of the infighting. There used to be fighting between different Aberdeen groups from different areas in the city, and then they all sort of got together with the casual movement, and basically, that was it. That would have been 1980 to 81. Fast forward to Hibs away, 1984-85. One of the worst days I've ever seen in this game. Back then, Aberdeen were untouchable, the biggest firm in Scotland. No one came close. Hibs, they were just starting to make a name for themselves, but they were nowhere near our level. That changed after this day. Hibs away was always one to look forward to. You knew it would go off because there was only one way to the ground, right past Easter Road, right past their mob. That meant one thing, straight confrontation. We had about 400 that day, a proper turnout. Hibs had maybe 150, maybe a bit more, nowhere near our numbers. They still had a go though, I'll give them that. As we came down the road, they charged. Brave, but stupid. Most of them legged it as soon as we hit them, but a few stood their ground. It wasn't enough. We overpowered them quickly, sending them scattering in all directions. But one of them wasn't fast enough. Raymond Morrell, one of their lot, got caught, and he took a beating. It was bad. I remember watching as the lads piled in, and even though I was in the middle of it, I knew this wasn't just another fight. This was serious. Once inside the ground, the rumours started. Ramey was in a coma. Ramey was dead. The Hibs fans were chanting, "Murderers, murderers," at us. That was a weird one. You don't go into this game wanting to kill someone. You want to prove yourself, make a name, but not that. Deep down, no real lad wants to see someone die. That incident changed everything. The next time we played them, they were out for revenge. This was the infamous petrol bomb incident. Hibs' way of showing they weren't going to take that loss lying down. After the game, we were being escorted to the station by the coppers past the St. James's Centre. We were split into two groups, the last of us still making our way, when suddenly Hibs appeared. They always met there, lurking in the background, waiting for their moment. And then it happened. One of them stepped forward and lobbed a petrol bomb right at us. I saw it in the air, everything seeming to slow down for a second. It smashed near us, flames bursting up. No one got hit, but that wasn't the point. It was close. Too close. That moment changed everything. The papers went mad over it. Hibs had just gone from being another firm trying to make a name for themselves to something else entirely. People started saying they were lunatics, that they'd do anything. That's when they really got their reputation. The police were all over us on the way home, coming onto our train and smelling our hands for petrol, thinking we'd been the ones throwing bombs. As if we needed to. We already ran things in Scotland. That petrol bomb was pure revenge for Raymond Morrell, their way of showing us they wouldn't forget. And that's when the real rivalry started. Aberdeen versus his Hibs. It's still there, even now, though not like it was back then. But that's another story, maybe. We thank Willie and Bobby for their recollections. It's clear that these two firms have a distinct dislike of each other, and the Raymond incident seems to have made that dislike into a seething hatred, which still festers to this day. Is it time to put these events behind us and make amends? Thanks for watching. Please share, like, comment, and subscribe, as it really helps our channel grow to give you bigger, better content.